Yesterday, I announced that the United States is providing an additional $40 million to get fertilizer into the hands of as many as 1 million farmers ahead of the upcoming planting season. Crucial assistance that will meaningfully boost the country's harvest production and yields. Today, I am pleased to announce an additional $20 million to provide humanitarian assistance to Sri Lankans battling hunger and malnutrition throughout the country.
USAID Administrator informed Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe of the importance of political reforms.
But assistance alone will not put an end to this country's woes. I stressed to the Sri Lankan President in my meeting earlier today that political reforms and political accountability must go hand in hand with the economic reforms and economic accountability. Sri Lanka's vibrant civil society must have the space that they need to raise their voices and hold the government accountable. This is not in tension with economic stability. It is the means by which the government will obtain insight into what is working and what is not working at the grassroots level. International investor confidence will increase as the government tackles corruption and proceeds with long-sought governance reforms.
Samantha Power elaborated on the role of the United States, China and the Paris Club in restructuring Sri Lanka's debt.
As Sri Lanka seeks to emerge from this economic crisis, the United States, as a creditor and as a member of the Paris Club, stands ready to participate in the restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt. It is imperative that all of Sri Lanka's creditors, most notably the People's Republic of China, cooperate in this process openly and on comparable terms with each other. When debt becomes unsustainable, as it so clearly has in Sri Lanka, the stakes of that cooperation can mean the difference between life or death, prosperity or poverty. We provide grants. We're not interested in increasing indebtedness to the United States. We're interested in, one day, hopefully not too far off in the future, our relationship with Sri Lanka being strictly a trade relationship and not an aid relationship. We want our resources to help unlock the potential that we know is there without strings attached. And we think this is a really important moment in Sri Lanka for that same mindset of standing with our friends, no strings attached, what is in the interest of economic stability and economic independence for this country. And I think that is the sort of mindset that informs the kinds of efforts that we will make to provide economic support going forward.
The USAID Administrator also commented on the upcoming UN Human Rights Council sessions.
I think that the United States engages, as part of the core group in Geneva, recognizing that I think we all agree that it is in Sri Lanka where those mechanisms are most needed, and there is a lot of technical support and a lot of expertise in the international community that is ready to be brought to bear. And we did, again, engage with the President on this today, and it is clearly, it is clear that these are issues that are very much part of, what brought at least some Sri Lankans out to demand change. And it is clear that the commitments that have been made in the past, again, haven't delivered sufficiently to address again those deeply held aspirations.
U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, was also present at the media briefing.
So I think there are definitely institutional reforms, strengthening institutions like the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, the Office of Missing Persons, making sure they're well-resourced and independent. Just many of the steps that we've heard being addressed, but whether the implementation will be complete and true and lasting. That's something that I think we and in the international community and the Sri Lankan people are really seeking to encourage the government.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe thanked the administrator of USAID, Samantha Power, for the assistance of $40 million extended to the farmers of Sri Lanka. Speaking at the meeting, President Wickremesinghe informed Samantha Power on the progress Sri Lanka has made in establishing democracy in the country.
As far as democracy items are concerned, the 22nd Amendment is before Parliament. We are waiting for the Parliament to pass it. The oversight committees are back again, and we will be looking forward to support from the USA, with one difference, that in addition to the members of Parliament, there will be 5 youth representatives, people under 35, who will be there. They have the right to ask questions to the chairman, and they cannot contribute to the main report, but we are giving them addendum, so they can say whatever they want on the report. Thereafter, it will be in print. This is the first time it's happening in the world, and we'll have to select the 5 members. What's called a youth parliament that will legislate for that and bring it under the law.
The Sri Lankan president also said that he has given an ultimatum to political parties to decide on electoral reforms that have been stalled.
I'm going to call the parliament to say once and for all that they must agree on electoral reform. This has been going on. The parties are arguing among themselves. I give them 6 months. If they don't, I'll have a referendum and ask the country which system they want. Because the political parties can't be putting this off forever. They have to bite the bullet at some stage. So if they are not willing, I have not told them yet, I will go for a referendum on the major reforms.
The president also said that the former Speaker Kharu Jayasuriya and Victor Ivan have come up with a concept called the People's Councils at grassroots level. The head of state also commented on the Prevention of Terrorism Act and the proposed reforms.
PTA detentions, we've talked with the Tamils, we've agreed on a formula that will set off against the judgment the period in detention. Since they have all had more than 10 years, no judgment will more than 10 years. It will be out except for the few who had bombed the Temple of the Tooth and the assassination, I think, of 1 or 2 other members. Thereafter, I've asked the intelligence agencies to identify all the Muslims under detention after April Easter bomb who can be released. We've asked the Scotland Yard to come in, review the reports and come to a final conclusion on this whole issue. Was there a hidden hand behind the bombing, and if so, who's the hidden hand?
USAID Administrator Samantha Power, speaking at the meeting, told President Wickremesinghe that the highest levels of government in the United States is fully aware of the situation in Sri Lanka.
We are really aware at the highest levels of the U.S. government of just how perilous this moment is for you. It is so important in a time of crisis for people to come together. And, we certainly are here to come together with you and to help take advantage of this rare window of opportunity, also to make the kinds of changes, for you to be able to make the kinds of changes that have been proposed for so long. I mean, questions about whether the private sector can be unleashed. You have such an incredible private sector, such entrepreneurship, but the government, over so many years has largely stood in the way of unlocking that potential instead of fueling it. Mangala used to say, as you know, government has no business running business. And, what was done in the telecom sector, if that could be done in other sectors in an expeditious and transparent way, just again to unlock the potential of your people, it would be incredible.